Hey, good morning everybody. Welcome back to Drawing with Michael. I am, of course, Michael. Today I'm going to be doing some character faces for my warm-up. I'm working on Bristol board. This Bristol is like a comic book page Bristol, purchased at the local art store. It's got pre-done margins for doing comic books, but what I really like about it, not only is the format horizontal, of course you can go vertical as well, but I just like working on the smooth surface. Today, you guys know, I've been working with different graphite pencils, different pencils, but today I think I'm just going to go and use my little Koh-i-Noor carmine red woodless colored pencil. I'm using the 4K camera because I'm trying it out. What I didn't realize, of course, actually I did realize, of course, is the fact that 4K the files are enormous. So whenever I went to go and do my export yesterday into my computer, there was 27 gigs worth of video files that I had to import, and then whenever I uploaded to YouTube, it was 10.5 gigs. But I did look to see if there was a size limit on file upload to YouTube, and lo and behold, it was like 200 gigabytes or something like that per file. So I thought, wow, that's insane. Anyway, so characters. You guys don't come to the channel to listen to me harp on about YouTube. Characters. So I get questions in class a lot about drawing characters, about doing stuff, and what I always say is, it takes a lot of repetition, and, in terms of formulas, there is really no easy button whenever it comes to characters, right? We want to be able to just sit down and crank out some characters, and a lot of times it takes an enormous amount of time and practice to be able to do something that is consistent, right? If you are consistent, then suddenly you realize, wow, I'm not having such a hard time anymore. And that, my friends, is something that we all should, aspire to do. So what am I doing? Being consistent. That's what I'm trying to get to. For those of you who didn't understand what I just said. What am I trying to do today? So I'm doing character faces. I'm not designing per se for a specific character, but I kind of have in mind I want to do kind of maybe a wharf guy that works down by the wharf. So all these things come into play whenever I'm doing the character design. Wharf guys are typically really, they've got, not to generalize or anything, but whenever you do character designs like this, there has to be an easy read. And a lot of times it has nothing to do with, prejudging, because anybody can be a wharf guy or girl. But what you want to do, obviously, especially in the context of creating characters, is to have an easy read of exactly what a wharf guy or gal might look like. So, wharf worker, they might be a little bit bigger because they're lifting large boxes. They might have worked outside, so there might be some gruff going on there. Gruff meaning, maybe a scar here or two. Maybe they're a little bit older, maybe in their mid-40s, 30s, they've been working a while, and, maybe they're balding, so we're going to have a toque or toboggan or whatever you call these things, a hat on to protect them, right? Let's get these eyes in. I like doing this eye first most of the time. So this particular wharf guy is not going to be a quote-unquote bad guy. Maybe he's just worked, a long part of his life, and he's just trying to get by. Maybe he's working for his family, so there's going to be some gentleness in the eyes because he is a family man. Right? Where's my other carmine red pencil? Where is that thing? Oh, down here. Duh. There it is. Okay. So, that's kind of what I'm thinking. In terms of, character basis, because you don't want to go into a character and just start drawing blindly. Because what will inadvertently happen is you'll start doing things and making decisions based upon ideas that don't really make a lot of sense. I always ask the students very straightforward questions, especially when they're doing character art. I'm like, okay, so what's your character's name? Where are they from? How old are they? What is their job? What are they doing? Right? And I think all these things really help out. Maybe he's got some... that comes up, so we're going to have that brow line come around. Whoops. I do it every single freaking time. I pushed. See, that's the thing with these Progressos, is I'm sitting here, I'm pushing, and I'm doing this, and I inadvertently broke it, which I didn't want to do. So we're going to have a little bit of hair coming out over here. Okay. In terms of his name, maybe his name is Sam. It doesn't really feel like a Sam. Hector, doesn't feel like a Hector. Philip, Jerome. And I start going through all these names in my head when I'm working on them. And eventually I land on one that fits. Okay. So we can make this a little bit gruff. Maybe that eyebrow. Ethnicity plays a big part in it too, right? Whenever we're doing stuff like this, it's important for you to remember that for people to understand and relate, maybe this person, depending on the nose shape, maybe this person is from Italy. Get a little bit of a pointed nose, right? So we're going to have this, he's got a big mustache. I want him to have a big mustache. And it's not going to be curly, it's just going to be large. It's going to have some weight to it. And two, whenever I'm doing stuff like this, I am remembering, perspective. Oh, and also Wharf Worker. So Wharf Worker, maybe he's a little bit older, so his metabolism has changed a little bit. Similar to me. My metabolism has changed a little bit, so I've had to adjust the way I eat, the way I exercise. So he's got a little bit of extra here and there. He's not 15 years old and can drink a 6-pack of Mountain Dew like I know a lot of 15-year-olds can do and not have it affect them. You drink a 6-pack of Mountain Dew, that's enough sugar for an entire week plus. If I do any of that now, I'd probably, go into a sugar coma. Got his chin. And since he does have a little bit extra, you don't want to define those areas that would otherwise define his chin. So since he does have extra, maybe he's got a fat fold. Here's the edge of his chin right here. His neck comes down, and he is quite larger. So his neck is quite big. Right? Since he's, been lifting. He does have a lot of power, and he's not out of shape. That's the thing. This Wharf Worker is not out of shape. And that's one of the things that I think a lot of times we think fat people, not fat people, but large people are out of shape. Everybody has a different body type. So that guy has he's lived a long time, and he's got a lot of power behind him. But he's, you know, you're not going to see his six-pack. Unless, of course, it's in his hand. Right? So we're going to color this in. Maybe he's got a scar right here. Get that hat that comes over here and goes the length of his head. His ear. And the two, you know, I am keeping things pretty simple. And maybe, gosh, I'm trying to think how I want to do the bottom of his face. You notice that I've kind of ignored the bottom of his face because I'm like, I have no idea what I want to do. And that happens. Okay, so I'm going to have his lip come here. Okay, let's kind of jot down just a little bit. Okay. So, you know, I think that what you have to do as, you know, an artist or illustrator or somebody that creates characters is become that character for that brief moment, right? You're becoming that character. You're living that, or at least good character designers, right? You want to be able to feel what that character is feeling in that moment, you know. I always think of this, especially when doing characters, because you have to do a lot of them. I mean, whenever I do stuff like this, I'm not doing what I would normally, that's a little bit too high, what I would normally be doing. You know, I'd sit there and I'd do, you know, 10 of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I would, you know, if there was art direction for a specific, you know, like in the creative brief, there would be, you need to have the wharf worker, he's from Italy, he's X amount of years old, you know, maybe he's had a hard time at home. And sometimes a creative brief is not even like that. It just says wharf worker. And you have to do the research. You have to look. You have to find out what's relevant in the context of the character design. Alright, so let's do this. I'm running out of room here. So maybe I'll have this turtleneck come here. There we go. Okay, so we'll have his little goatee come out and down. Okay. Okay. I'm going to shadow underneath because even though it does come out, this part of the hair, I do have to remember that the chin, the way it's designed, and I have to kind of adhere to these things whenever I'm doing stuff like this. He's got this large neck roll that comes underneath, and then his chin area right here. So I'll end up shadowing this, right? And then I'll have his turtleneck come around, because you know wharf workers wearing turtlenecks, they can protect their vital, you know, their throats, so they don't end up getting sick. But the chin, you know, the lip comes around, it's rounded, you know, it's rounded like this, and then this comes like this. See, I'm thinking all these things in my brain. Remember we talked about working three-dimensionally, and then this hair, his chin's underneath that, so it pushes it out slightly. I'm going to shadow this underneath slightly, and his hair. Variation of line weight, right here, and here's the corner of his mouth, because his mouth comes here, and then it's kind of hidden behind, so we're going to make this a little bit darker to really kind of accentuate that mustache. Okay, so we're going to color this in, give it a little bit of value, right? A little bit of shadowing under the nose. Maybe the light comes upper, so we're going to shadow this underneath. We're going to have a cast shadow that comes here. We're going to have a shadow that comes here, and it kind of brings things, there we go. We're going to have a shadow here, and then we're going to have a shadow right here, shadow here, shadow underneath his brow, and then it's like this. And he's got a cast shadow underneath his mustache. Okay. Right here, I'm going to shadow that in, give it a little bit more texture. Good, good. Okay. I think that's where I wanted to land on that one. Okay. So again, I'm going to reconfirm. And I wish I wouldn't have broke my pencil. That really stinks. Here, let's do this. So I got to go up to my other pencil sharpener that only sharpens, very important, only sharpens colored pencils. That's like the worst sound in the world, I think. Okay, this is much better. Okay. Okay. I like the way this is going. I like him. You know what his name is? Sam. Simple, right? Also, it depends on the dimension of the character, right? If this particular character had, if this was for an animated film, and it had a lot of dialogue, maybe you'd give him something personal. I always tell the kids in my illustration class, I say, especially if they're doing character work, I always say, how can you kind of make the character more dynamic? Maybe this particular character is a little gruff, right? And is one of the things that you can do to kind of give him more dynamic is to give him an action or something that he does that basically is completely opposite to the way he looks. He might be a little rough, but he's got some gentleness to his eyes. And maybe occasionally, they'll cut to a scene where he's got a picture of his daughter in his wallet. And that's one of the reasons why he does the things he does. He makes sacrifices for his daughter. Or, maybe he sucks on a sucker. Or he's, his lunchbox, you see his lunchbox, and he's got a sticker of My Little Pony, and maybe he's a brony. That's kind of funny. So a lot of times it's the small things that really are opposite of maybe your character design, that give him more dynamicism in the context of what you're doing. Right? Okay, so I like where he landed. I say this 100 times, not trying to render him, not trying to go too deep, just trying to get a little bit of artwork out to you guys. So we're going to move him over slightly. We're going to focus in this area. Okay, so now we'll do a little bit younger guy. We'll go back to my carmine red, my little stubby. So let's go ahead and put that in there. Okay. Alright, so a little bit younger guy, a little bit thinner. I'm going to sneeze. My goodness! My wife and my kids always laugh at me. They're like, Daddy, you sneeze like 5 times. You're like, Joe, Joe, Joe. Well, that's how I roll, bro. If I do it, I want to do it. Right? I want to get that sneeze out. You notice that I'm not drawing heavy. I'm not getting in there and just and not sitting there noodling. I'm doing broad shapes first. You guys know that that's what I do. Broad shapes and refine. Broad shapes, refine. That's one of the things you should remember. Broad shapes, refine. You start out really broad, you draw light, and as you move in, right, then you define what's important. Right? You define what's important in the character design. So we're going to make his nose kind of pointed. A little bit thinner. I barely see the other side. I want this to come out further. Okay. right. Those real curved shapes. He's got a cheekbone comes here, cheekbone comes here. Okay, he's got that jawline that comes down. He's got that comes here. Right. Okay. Okay. Alright, so I'm just going to cover, so I need to draw his ear. Okay, I will draw some semblance of it inside because the hair is going to cover it up. Because I want to know where it is. Okay, so we'll have that come here. That comes up. Okay. Kind of losing my point here whenever I'm doing detailed work, so I switch over to the other one really quick to help me out. So let's go ahead and draw a little bit of baggage here. Here comes up, down, and here's the pupil. Right? Iris here. Here. He's got eyebrows, but they're covered up by his hair. He too has a toque. So this one's going to come here. It's going to come around. Kind of has that fold up like this. Then I've got his hair. Since his hat is mooshing down, that's a word, isn't it? Moosh. Mooshing down on his hair. So we're going to have that come here. Like that. And then you're going to see a few pieces go here. And I'm going to have this come around. Right there. And then I'm going to have this come out. Like that. Okay. Now, interesting thing is whenever you do stuff like this and doing hair, it's very important that you don't sit there and draw a bunch of strands, right? I think of hair in terms of shape. It's pretty simple whenever you start, you know, look, see, I started out doing the hair as one broad shape across his forehead because I wanted to come down, right? So then he's also going to have a mustache, but his is going to be kind of curled. So we're going because he's got, you know, he's got some style to him. There we go. So again, you know, I'm thinking I got this construction line that comes down the front of his face, and then it comes out. Here's a broad shape, and I'm thinking in terms of volumes. So I'm going to draw his mustache. Again, I'm not getting into the minutia of each strand of hair. I'm just drawing the broad shape. And two, I'm drawing the mustache, but I am thinking, okay, it's rounded here, you know, it's rounded here. And the further it goes back, those lattice lines in my brain and how they're working start defining that 3D form. Right? See, he's got a little poochie. Goes like this, because his lip comes out here, and it comes down, and then it comes, here's the bottom part. Because if you know anything about the way that, and get it a little bit like that, you see a little bit of darkness in here. There we go. So now what I'm doing, I've really defined what I'm doing with this character now, so I can start defining those forms and the shapes. and getting where I need to be. So I'm fixing to switch back to my other pencil because I'm kind of done with doing the detail work here, you know, that I wanted to draw. So I'm still in that big broad shape stage. I haven't landed. There we go. Okay, so I don't like the way his neck is. I don't think it's long enough. I want that cover up. So we're going to have his shirt come down like that. And two, you know, I have his hair kind of covering up this area. And the way his hair is, it goes, you know, here, and it's a form, right? It's a shape and form, and it goes behind his head and it comes around. So I need to be conscious of that. And then his ear comes out, which we won't be able to see. And then I'll have his, like that. That's not bad. Okay. I've got to start on my commission. I've already started on the commission that I got hired to do. It's due in 9 days, which I can do it. I can do it in like no time flat. I can do it in 1 day. Not even 1 day. I've just had a lot of other things, you know, in the queue that I've had to finish. Okay, so we're going to have this here, come here, come like that, baggage, hair, okay. Okay. These other eyeballs right here. I want to make sure and not forget about that. Okay, comes up here. He's got some baggage here. And he's got that big piece of hair that goes like this. And then it comes around. And here's the corner of his cheek. Okay. All right. Let's define that a little bit better. He's got that jaw. He's got that part of his, goes like that. I need to define his mustache. It is the mustache. Don't you put down on my mustache. Oops. Good. Define his eyes a little bit better. Some of that baggage. Okay. Okay, got his hat that comes around. Good, good, good. Okay, now I'm going to have, see how this line comes here and it comes here? That's the edge of his head. I don't want to draw the hair out here because it doesn't make any sense. So the edge of his head comes here, and this is where the hair is going to jut out. And again, look, it's got a nice rhythm and flow to it. So we're going to bring these out, and this kind of curves up a little bit. I like that line that comes up. That feels really nice. And two, it goes up, and I even drew that. It goes up, and then it comes back. So down below, maybe we'll have, these are in silhouette. A little bit better, right? Again, it pushes this forward. Let's define that eye a little bit better. I keep going back to it, because I don't think I'm there yet. This guy's a little bit younger, not too much younger. He looks like he's had a little bit of a harder, gruffer situation. I think he's got a whatchamacallit on him. He's got a little goatee.
So my apologies for the abrupt stop. My camera stopped recording, so this is the final. Hopefully we'll get that solved for next time. Thank you guys. Bye.